Hey, what's up? You are listening to the Fitness Business Life podcast. MJ Lennon here, and I am here with my co-host Steve Clark. Steve,
What is going on, guys? Hope you're doing really well.
dude, it's coming up to the end of the year, and we know what happens at this stage.
Mince pies.
Mince, mince pies for sure. And people are going to start setting goals for the new year. I mean, you should set goals. That's let's get that straight first of all. But what happens is people do it in the wrong way and then very, very quickly realize, I'm not going to achieve this outcome, so what the fuck's the point?
Yeah. So it's probably just more or less a lack of planning more than anything. So we're going to go through a few things today to basically make sure that this time next year, coming up to Christmas, you're not sitting in the same position.
Yeah.
So that you achieve something in 2020, something that you can be proud of.
For sure, man, for sure. So we were kind of chatting off before we came on to the podcast there, and you were kind of what was it you were saying about when it came to achieving goals? Can you remember? Like we were just chatting briefly.
Uh, Basically, there's got to be a reason behind why you're doing anything.
Yes, that was it. Dude.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
The driving force is your why, and kind of if you're listening to this podcast and you don't know the reason why you're setting a goal, there's something wrong. There's something broken along the way.
Okay.
Otherwise, at a fundamental basis, why are you setting a goal? There's nothing wrong. Okay, so you want to achieve something. I'm assuming that you have your reason why, and if you don't already have your reason, you need to sit down with yourself and have a real think about it. And I don't want to get into it because it can get a wee bit airy-fairy and stuff. It's best done with a notebook and a bit of alone time and thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you go through that process and nothing is still kind of jumping at you, the reason why, then think about it on the opposite side of the scale. So if you think to yourself, if I don't take action on this goal, what are the problems that I'm going to have in a month's time, 2 months' time, 3 months' time? And through thinking about the negatives, then your reason why will absolutely come to the surface.
You'll find it through that. So
almost take that as like a disclaimer. You got to do that thinking first.
So what is the cause of not taking action?
Yeah.
And then once you figure that out, then you're going to find out why you need to take action.
Yeah, it's kind of like a form of like reverse engineering.
The
idea, if you want to call it that.
Okay, we're going to do a lot of reverse engineering today. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. And just to give people a wee sort of analogy on this, a lot of people confuse goals with desires.
Mm-hmm. Talk a wee bit more about that.
Right. So, for instance, someone might have a goal of losing a stone in 2020. Just to give a quick example, that's a good goal, right? Depending on where the person's at, that's a good goal. But their desire could be to eat cake and chocolate and pizza, right? So that's when goals and desires become really conflicting, because what's going to happen is the desire for something is going to outdo the goal for something, right? So it's really, really important to think, okay, is this goal going to benefit me, or is it a desire that is actually going to really affect my long-term goal in the process? Do you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people really need to sit down and look at that and think, okay, is it a goal? Is it a desire? Because it could be another example. A desire, I want to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
But all in all, is that gonna help with your goal of living a happier life? Because for some people, it may not necessarily be true.
Yeah, it can come with more problems.
It can actually fucking come with more problems than anything, because at the end of the day, money just makes you more of what you already are. So if you're a dick, having more money is just going to make you a bigger dick.
Yeah, they can afford more expensive things.
Yeah, they can afford that mightn't necessarily make you happy. Do you know what I'm saying? So, the first thing that I would say is don't confuse the two.
Yeah.
Get it straight. The goal is likely the thing that's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
The desire is a wee bit, iffy.
Yeah. So, we'll split this kind of thing up. So we're going to be talking, obviously, fitness, business, life. I think the fitness and the business will kind of meet somewhere in the middle and make people's life better. So if I take the reins,
okay,
it's not a joke. If I take the reins on the fitness side of things, and you go for the business side,
for sure, good. And I know sort of, you know, I know that this sort of first part is going to combine the two. I would say more so on the fitness end of things, and I think people sort of set goals too high. Right? Okay. Now, again, we were talking just before we come on here. That's okay to do. You know, we were sort of speaking about this. You want to set big goals, like what you were saying, is goals that actually scare you.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck, you know, is this actually questionable? Is it going to be achievable, but not completely beyond?
I think the best word for it is, does it excite you? Is it something that's going to excite you and make you want to do it?
Yeah, that's actually perfect. Because, you know, I like to use this analogy. Let's say you had a goal of becoming a better tennis player, right? And you started to practice tennis, and each and every single day you were playing against Roger Federer, right? What's going to happen is you're just going to get like beat every single day, and you're not going to get excited by it, as you say. Yeah. Or on the flip side of that, you know, let's say you're playing a 3-year-old a game of tennis every single day. You're always going to win, and it's not really a worthy goal.
Yeah, you're not really exerting yourself.
Yeah, so it's not challenging you in any way, so you're not getting excited about it. But if you set a goal that's within like 5% of your capabilities short term, that's something to get excited about. That's achievable. And what ultimately that's going to do is compound and compound and compound into a bigger goal.
Yeah.
So if you set a 5% target at the first quarter of the year, you achieve it. And then you do that the next quarter, the next quarter, the next quarter. At the end of the year, that's 20% more than where you were at, which is a bigger, 20% beyond your capabilities, instead of saying first quarter, 20%, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're out of your depth then.
Yeah. And, you know, even in terms of the gym environment, you generally see a lot of people will start the gym in January and they'll go all guns blazing. And I always say to people, listen, you know, the more extreme the approach, the less likely it's going to be sustainable. And this is essentially what's going to fucking happen for 99.9% of the population come January.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we're kind of on the topic about, you know, the whole New Year thing and people coming into the gym, you know, I have this email. Anyone who comes to the gym, I send them out an email, and it is particularly about goal setting and how to break a goal down, more so than I think. Kind of going to jump into the fitness side of things now.
Okay.
Because it kind of relates to, you know, the achievability and stuff of goals.
Yeah.
So in this email, I explain to people, you know, what constitutes as a bad goal, okay? Or at least how to word a bad goal. So you write it down, and a bad goal would look like lose weight, okay? And, you know, there's a problem with that, and the problem is that, first of all, it's not specific. We're going to talk about this in terms of a SMART goal.
Doesn't excite you?
Yeah. So a SMART goal, we're going to use the first letter or the letters of that word. The S will stand for the specific. So lose weight, there's no real specific thing. So how do you know when the goal has been achieved?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So instead of lose weight, you put a number on it. So let's say I want to lose a stone. So that's a bit more specific. Or on the other side of things, if someone wants to say, I want to increase my deadlift, that's not a good goal either, because it doesn't have a specific number. So you want to increase your deadlift, that's great. Increase your deadlift by 10 kilos. There's the number, there's the specifics in there. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is the measurable. So again, how do you know when the goal has been achieved? If you're talking about weight loss and you go lose weight, you're like, yeah, I've lost weight because I stood on the scale and now I'm lighter. So there's the measurable factor. Again, if you deadlift 5 kilos, 10 kilos heavier than you did before, there's the measuring factor in there. So that's how you know that the goal has been achieved.
Yeah. I always say to people, because we do get quite a lot of people that come to us and say, you know, like, what do you want? And, I want to look better. Oh, well, okay, well, what does that look like?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I always kind of give them the analogy. We're using loads of analogies today. I always give them the analogy of, you know, imagine you get into a taxi and the taxi driver asks you where you want to go, and you just said anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
somewhere nice.
Yes, somewhere nice. Yeah, what the fuck?
And even in that, what's nice for him is going to be different from what's nice for you. So you'd end up anywhere.
Yeah.
So the next level then. So we've gone through SMA is achievable. Okay, so this is where it ties into what you were talking about and people pushing their capabilities and stuff. So we have, let's say we want to lose a stone. Okay. That's the specific, that's measurable because we'll get onto the scale and find out if we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it achievable? And this kind of, people will rush this 9 times out of 10, especially coming into January. Is a stone achievable to be lost in a week? Probably not, okay? But in the off chance that it is achievable, like you said, it's probably an extreme approach that isn't going to be sustainable.
Yep.
So if we're going to lose a stone, we want to lose it in probably a longer time frame. Or if we're going to put kilos onto our deadlift, we're going to do it in a longer time frame than just a week. Okay. Saying that, like we were talking about before, it should excite you and it should push your capabilities, okay, on a constant basis. So there's all these self-help books, and people who want to, help their mindset and all these things. And they read 5 books on the topic and they don't get any better. There's people who say, I'm going to start a diet, but hold on, which one will I do? There's Slim World here, there's Weight Watchers there, there's keto, there's carb cycling, there's all these things. The information is there, but what is lacking is the action.
It's the execution.
It's the execution of it. So if you don't know how to lose a kilo or you don't know how to lose a stone, you got to find out the information. And you got to do the work that is required to achieve that goal. Yeah.
It's almost it's like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
People get bogged down over analyzing shit when in reality you would achieve a hell of a lot more, even if it was imperfect. Imperfect action beats inaction all day long. And that's what most people get bogged down with is analysis paralysis.
Yeah. And in fairness, like bog standard information, everybody knows how to lose a bit of weight.
Yeah, everyone knows what they got to eat.
Yeah, you know, if I had 2 plates in front of me of biscuits and one had potatoes and I said which one's healthier, everyone's going to know which one to pick.
Yeah.
We all know that we kind of, to lose weight, we need to move a wee bit more, eat a wee bit less, eat healthy food and all that kind of thing. But what is stopping people is the actual doing of it. And that's why there is no achievement made.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to say that, like, it should excite you and it should be a big goal and stuff. And it should scare you a wee bit, but just know that it is achievable. The only thing that you need to do is take the action and do the things that you need to do to make it achievable.
Yeah, perfect, mate. Absolutely. That was the, so what we got?
We've got R, so R, So R is your reason, and it goes back to your why again. So what we talked about at the very start, why are you doing this? And if you don't know the reason why, you got to figure it out, because that is going to be the thing that drives you whenever times get tough. Whenever you say, like, the desire start creeping in with the pizza, wanting to come into play at the weekend stuff, you're like, is this going to be beneficial to my goal? Yeah, it's going to be the reason that forces you to do the hard things, okay? And again, like I said, if you don't know the reason why, think about the opposite side of things. Think about the problems that you're going to have if you don't do the things to achieve your goal. To have the pizza, you'll put on a wee bit of weight, or it's going to throw you back a couple of weeks or whatever. You might as well keep it going.
Can I get a wee bit scientific here?
Yeah, go for it.
So that's called higher level thinking, right? So you've got higher level thinking and lower level thinking. That's split into 2 areas of the brain. 1, the neocortex, and 2, the limbic system. The limbic system is generally responsible for emotions, because people react based on emotions. We were just having a conversation with this before, but higher level thinking basically comes from the neocortex, and it's the newer part of the brain.
Right.
So, what I would suggest is maybe, having an objective look at what the decisions you are making in the process, because a lot of people kind of, like I say, think on a lower level and think, is this going to be, right now, thinking right now, is this going to be beneficial to me right now? And that's kind of, that's our animalistic, that's a limbic brain thinking, react now, immediate return environment. get this outcome. It's going to feel good.
The pleasure.
This is your desire.
Yeah.
You know, go with this.
Yeah.
But then you've got the neocortex who will, you know, be responsible for higher level thinking. And a lot of the time, you know, when people are struggling, it's these two parts. It's the higher level and lower level that are in conflicting. You know, they're in an argument basically as to who should get the best outcome.
Yeah.
So if you take a quick step back and think, like you're saying, you know, is this gonna benefit me going towards my goals? Then if not, it's just a desire. You know, almost step outside yourself, look inwards, and go: Is this gonna benefit you 6 months down the line? If it's not, then you know that your why, your reason for doing it, is, you know, you're not sticking true to that. Then you need to go back and reflect on it and say, this isn't going to serve you.
Yeah,
yeah.
It calls for deeper thinking then, because you were talking along the lines of it being like I'm not even going to pretend to remember the name of the part of the brain that you're talking about, but the one that was like the animalistic side of things, and the desires.
Yeah.
So that it kind of comes into play whenever we talk about people going, fuck it, it's Christmas, or saying things like, you know, like emotional eating. You know, like you want that pleasure right there and then, and that kind of just like overrides all the logical thinking. And it's one thing. Listen to a couple of podcasts back, we were talking about our favorite books, Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
One of the best lines from it is asking yourself in terms of an identity. So like, would a fit person do this? Or would a tennis player do this? Or those kinds of questions.
It's looking objectively at yourself and saying, right, are you making the right decision right now? Would this type of person do this here?
Yeah. And it's the decision that's going to serve you long term.
Yeah, it's higher level thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one then is going to be timed. Okay. So having a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So you say that you want to lose a stone. We talked about, is it achievable? Probably not in a week, but that's not to say that you shouldn't put a deadline on it. So this time in 3 months, I'm going to have a stone off. So by the end of February, I'm going to have a half a stone off, and the end of January, I'm going to have 5 pounds off or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So having those deadlines mapped out of where you're going and how much by. And also I would probably add one in there. It would either be like the letter F or letter C, and would either be a consequence or a forfeit.
Smart.
Smart. So a forfeit or a consequence for not achieving the goal.
There has to be consequences.
Yeah. So otherwise you're kind of just floating through the year.
Yeah.
And people probably sitting and listening to this or getting to December and stuff and going, I've achieved a few things, but by the time October came around, I stopped achieving things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because there was no real consequence or reason kind of following on after those milestones were met.
I think what people are lacking is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People will go to great lengths not to look silly, right?
Or like a failure.
Or look like a failure. Yeah. Right? People, you know, if you end up alienated from the herd, you know, that's possibly the worst possible thing that can happen to someone.
That's when I gets you.
That's like, that's like our animalistic. You see our limbic brain.
Yeah.
That's it emotionally reacting to be alienated from the herd. And like you were saying, you know, in nature, standing out from the crowd means you're susceptible to predators.
Yeah.
Right. So we will do literally anything not to be alienated from the herd. Now, if you make yourself publicly accountable, right, to whatever it is that the outcome is, you know, that you want to achieve, and you do it every single day, you're gonna fucking do it no matter what. Like literally, you will go to great lengths, especially if you pay for it.
Yeah.
Right. One, especially if you've got skin in the game. Two, if you've made yourself publicly accountable and you make yourself open and transparent to not doing the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And I know what. Like someone's probably sitting listening to this here now and say, "Oh, I couldn't do that. I've never done that before." But that's the point.
Yeah. Because
if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always had.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
there's no change without challenge.
Exactly, man. Yeah. So if you want something different, then fucking do something different. Reach out and say, "This is what I want to do in 2020, and I'm expecting people to hold me accountable to that."
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? While we're here, we should do this right now.
Right.
So I tell you what, you know, me personally, I said, Craig, who we had on just our last podcast there, he asked me what my word was going to be for 2020. And I said that it was going to be create.
Yeah.
So that I want to create more products to help more people. I want to create more services. I want to create a better lifestyle for myself. That is going to be my word for this year. So I'm going to expect the listener now to hold me accountable, and you, that if I'm not leveling up and I'm not creating all of the time, now I should really use these SMART goals for this year, and I should get more specific with it. And I will do, but I don't think I'll have time for the podcast today. But I want to create more in order to help more people. So if I'm not living up to that, then I'm going to expect people to hold me accountable to that.
Yeah. Oh, you asked the same question of me as well,
Yeah.
and I said that my word would be consistent.
And
it's good because kind of like, you would think create, you automatically think of, like the creative types of like songs and all these kinds of things. But whenever you think about creating a better life, that's it's very broad. So it can span across loads of different aspects of people's lives, businesses, fitness, everything. So my word would have been consistent. Again, being a more consistent partner, being a more consistent coach, more consistent follower, all these kinds of things. And, consistent in my training and my food choices, all those kinds of things.
So when we break it down, it's like, right, okay, so if you're going to be consistent, then how many days a week are you going to train consistently? What is the consistent outcome that you want? How many times are you going to take Janice out in a week? Are you going to set one day a week so that you and her can just go out with no phone and just connect with each other, date night? And how often are you going to do that with Oliver? Right? So that I actually wrote an email about it the other day. If consistent is your word for 2020, then fucking write it everywhere. Write it on your vision board at home. Have it sitting at your desk side table. Tattoo it on your arm.
Forehead backwards so you can see the mirror.
Just have it at the forefront of your mind constantly. Right? Be consistent. Be consistent. Be consistent. And if it's there all the time, and it's a constant reminder of the type of person who is consistent and who will, keep doing the things that you need to get done, then it's right in front of you.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
You have no choice but to kind of abide by
it. And if I find myself, not leveling up and not creating, then stop what you're doing right now. This is a waste of fucking time. Go and create something that's going to help more people. Real simple.
So gonna wrap it up a wee bit, but I wanted to, while we were talking, had a wee thought in my head about the accountability and goal setting and stuff, and about how specific the goal is. Saying to somebody, I want to lose weight, isn't enough. So we're gonna, we don't have the time to do it now to go into the specifics of our goals for the next year. But whenever you say to someone, I want to lose a stone, and I want to lose a stone by June or whatever it is, it's that accountability and that specific goal that they need to know. It's not just the vague outline of it. Because it'll come 2-3 months down the line, or you'll get to your deadline and the person will go, well, where's the stone that you lost? Whereas people kind of like the idea of just saying, I just want to lose weight, so that when they get asked the question, I thought you said you were going to lose weight. I did, I lost a pound, but the real goal was a stone. So the accountability and the specifics behind the goals, you need to make public and let them be known to everybody.
100%, at least to someone that you wouldn't dare disappoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you say to someone who, you look up to, like a peer, you say to them, I'm going to do this thing, and then you don't do it, even that one person, that's alienating yourself.
And I suppose the consequence there is the person takes it less seriously.
You know
what I mean? And
you do not want that.
It doesn't matter. Like, you could say, okay, if I don't do it, I'm going to donate a $5 to a certain charity or whatever. But that's it's not so bad. But for someone to think worse of you, or to think, they say this all the time. That's not really a good feeling.
There's a guy on my mastermind group, Tyler, and Tyler's working on he used to work for NASA, right? I know, and he's working on this huge project right now, which basically uses social media. That obviously people running ads and stuff like this here. I'm not going to get into that now, but he said to Craig again, Craig we had on last week. He said to Craig that if he didn't wake at 5 a.m. every morning and get to work straight away on that biggest task, he would donate $1,000 to a cause. I think it's in America. I think it's like, you know, some you know, extreme left.
Is this the political party thing?
Yeah,
to fund someone's campaign.
I remember. Or he's, you know, whoever it was anyway, he's completely against this political party. But Tyler, Craig wakened up one day to a screenshot of Tyler had donated $1,000 to this other party whom he hated. Yeah. And now he could have not sent in the money because he didn't wake up that morning and do the work. But he held himself accountable and he sent the money to the party that he hates, like real deeply rooted hates. And he done it because he had said to Craig that he was going to do it, right? And, you know, we spoke in past episodes about self-esteem. Self-esteem is just keeping a promise to yourself. Yeah. Not just to the person who you expect to hold accountable, because he didn't have to do it. Like, you know, deep down, he made a promise. He could have pretended. He could have said, you know, I didn't get up, but it's okay. It's only one day. But he held himself accountable to someone that he didn't want to disappoint, and he followed through on it because he knew that his self-esteem wouldn't allow him not to. Yeah. Which is, you know, how much
that's class. Yeah. I love that.
I know.
Absolutely love it.
I'm actually, you know, we should implement something like this here.
Yeah, although I probably wouldn't have $1,000 to throw about.
I mean, you know, it can be an amount that scares you. Yeah. It can be an amount that scares you a wee bit. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be $1,000 or whatever, £1,000. It can be, you know, it can be £100. Yeah. If it scares you enough, if it scares you enough to go, oh fuck, you know, I'm not gonna do this thing. Yeah. You know, so be it. Yeah. And you know, I just wanna say, because we're gonna wrap it up here pretty quickly. And if it is a long drawn out process, you know, if you do want to get better at something in 2020, right? You know, be it going to the gym, be it getting better in business, like whatever, getting better at family life, whatever, spiritually, could be anything. If you set a baseline, first of all, so if you, you know, you start to do the thing that it is that you're going to do, you know, because you got to get started. Yeah. Either way, you got to get started, no matter what. You may be shit at it, you may be good at it at the start, but you got to get started. Otherwise, nothing happens. I seen a great quote the other day. Actually, it was Martin Rooney, and he said that, you know, if there's anything that's going to stop you, don't let it be the start. Yeah. Right. That's a good one. I know, it's awesome. So you set a baseline. From there, get expert feedback. Right, because you could set a baseline and you could go in a completely fucking wrong direction as the goal.
It leads you further away from it.
So get expert feedback, right? Then you go into performance. So you get you set the baseline, you get feedback, you perform on the feedback, and you will get better. Again, that will compound, and then you know, get further feedback. Get advice, and then, you know, complete the cycle again. Get more advice, set a baseline, get expert feedback, performance, get advice.
Yeah, because each time the baseline it's a new baseline. Yes. So you're just getting better, and now that's the baseline. You're getting better, now that's the baseline. So it just continues.
It continues from there, and that's pretty much how you get better at fucking anything.
That's it. So we're going to wrap things up now.
Yeah.
Good. So first of all, before we go, it's coming up to Christmas. I hope you all have a really, really great holiday season. Whatever your goals are coming into 2020, I hope you absolutely smash them. Yeah. We're going to keep you accountable, and if you want a wee bit of accountability, you can get in touch with us. Where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, I love that there. Yeah, hit me up with your big goals and big obstacles. So M_J_Lennon. That's on Instagram, and Michael J. Lennon on Facebook. Yeah. Hit me up. I want to know. I really want to know.
Yeah, if you want to talk to me on Instagram, if you want even that email that I send out to my clients, if you want to get a copy of that, you can find me on Instagram at Coach Stevo Hybrid, and just get in touch, send me a wee message, and let's do great things in 2020.
Yep. Boom. Peace out.